All right, welcome to our second week of creative nonfiction writing. This week, we're going to talk about two topics. The first one is going to be organization, and the second one is telling the truth. Two very crucial topics that we have to think and talk about when it comes to writing creative nonfiction. Now, a common challenge going into writing an essay in this genre is how do I organize this? Because creative nonfiction is a genre of freedom, that freedom can create a situation where we have so many options. How do we decide which option to pick when it comes to organizational structure? Now, the good news is that you really have more leeway when you're writing your creative nonfiction. The organization is more relaxed than academic essays, like we've talked about. And you can be more flexible and experimental. Writers often discover connections and meaning as they write. So it's okay to figure out your organization as kind of as you go. Your essays are personal, they're exploratory. So the process of writing them can lead you to what the organization for the essay should be. The biggest thing I think with creative nonfiction that you have to remember is that writing is a process, and you have to be willing to revise and revise and revise until you find the shape and the form that the essay is supposed to take. Now, how do we start with what matters? Writers begin with pressing ideas, thoughts, or perceptions, the things that are kind of on your mind right now, the things that when you sit down to write your morning pages or your other journal pages, they're the things that keep coming up. Those are the types of things that you want to explore in creative nonfiction. Ideas, thoughts, perceptions, themes, and counter themes, they kind of emerge and intertwine as you write. I think a lot of creative nonfiction essays do come from journaling because it's when we journal that we explore and learn what's kind of going on for us. Now, the sample essays from this week and in your text are really helpful. So read those closely to observe how maybe some of those themes and ideas are woven together. One thing that's really helpful in your textbook is the use of checklists. Now, we've talked about this at other parts of the semester too. And these checklists are so helpful for knowing kind of what to focus on in each type of writing that we're doing. Um, this checklist is one that I kind of wanted to focus on, especially here in the notes, because I think this one is especially good to use. So here are four questions that you can think about as you're looking at the organization of your essay. Do you feel like your reader is immediately drawn in? Uh, is it interesting right from the start? Are there multiple thematic strands? And if there are they clear? Are there transitions where they're marked if you have more than one thing kind of going on? Does each paragraph have a clear focus? And is your conclusion strong? These four questions are ones that can get you started on the road to figuring out whether your organization is working. Now, what if you're experimenting with structure? What if you kind of want to branch out from these linear structures into something more interesting? Braided essays are one of the things that you can try. And these are essays that combine several topics that are not the same topic, but maybe they're linked in some way, or maybe they seem very different from each other, but in your mind, they're related in some way, and you can bring them together in a braided essay. Now, in these types of essays, your paragraphs can vary in length and style, but clarity is always key. And then knowing and understanding your organization will help readers follow your journey. Now, what am I talking about when I talk about a braided essay? A braided essay weaves together two or more separate storylines, memories, or themes, moving back and forth between them throughout the piece. By the end, the strands connect to create deeper meaning. Here's an example. One strand describes the writer learning to bake bread, for example, with their grandmother as a child. Another strand can describe the writer, now an adult, struggling with uncertainty in a new job. In the essay, the writer alternates between memories of kneading dough and scenes from the office, using the lessons from bread making, like patience and trial and error, to reflect on their current challenges. By the conclusion, both stories come together to show how the lessons from the kitchen inform the writer's approach to new experiences. So, see how you have two kind of unrelated things being brought together to kind of inform each other. So, that was the topic of